Groups in the Buffalo City Metro in the Eastern Cape have gathered outside the East London Regional Court, calling on the justice system to speedily finish the case against televangelist Timothy Omotoso. Omotoso appeared in court this afternoon after he was arrested in the East London CBD during the weekend. His arrest follows the rejection of his application by Minister of Home Affairs to overturn the Department of Home Affairs' decision to declare him a prohibited person in the country. All right, now for the very latest on the story, let's now cross to SABC News reporter Sidima Mfeku, who is joining us outside the court. Sidima, of course, there were tensions rising outside court this afternoon. Various groups, those that were supporting Omotoso and political parties that were against him being in this country. Just talk to us before we even get to what happened outside the courts. What happened inside the court?
Well, Unati, an immigration officer from the Department of Home Affairs, the one who actually was arresting Timothy Omotoso on the morning of Saturday, was giving testimony in the court. We might have missed a bit of his testimony, or the first part of his testimony, because as the media were not allowed inside court until about 3 p.m. in the afternoon that we were allowed to go in. And by the time we had gone in, he was speaking about, the interview that he had done with Timothy Omotoso on the day of the arrest. He was saying that when he was doing interviews when he was interviewing Timothy Omotoso, asking him some basic questions about his identity, his country of origin, where he is, where does he stay here in South Africa, if he has a house or not, if he works, where he did mention that he was working as a pastor at Jesus Dominion International Church. And he also, when he was doing the interview, he says that he had discovered that Mr. Timothy Omotoso's visa was not valid, and that Timothy Omotoso did not have any pending visa application, and that the visa that he had when he entered the country, the one that he had applied for, had expired in 2017 in August, and they're saying that it is for those reasons that they arrested Timothy Omotoso. But his defense, or rather his legal representative, advocate Sakele Poswa, did argue in court that the same eviction letter that was given to Timothy Omotoso on the Sunday of his arrest is actually the same letter that he was given back in 2022. We also discovered here in court that in 2022 Timothy Omotoso was presented an eviction letter that was then set aside, but also the legal representative saying in court there that this is the exact same eviction letter that was presented in court, and that it has also been done fraudulently. And he did mention in court that Timothy Omotoso was not read his rights when he was being arrested, particularly the right to if he has any reasons to get this eviction letter on review, have it on review with his lawyer. He's saying that by law he was supposed to have been given 10 days to look at the eviction deportation letter, and also look if whether or not he has interest of having that letter reviewed. That is something that he would have done with his legal representative. And he was also arguing in court that because the 10 days is not over yet, this particular matter that has been set for here in the East London Magistrates Court is set for prematurely, as it should have been set just after the expiry of the 10 days that he was supposed to have been given.
So what's the way forward now in terms of this court procedure? Is it still ongoing, seeing that it started later than it was supposed to start because of those protests outside court?
Well, Unati, the matter is still ongoing. It's going to come back again to this court tomorrow, as there are various documentations that advocate Sakele Poswa wanted to present in court. But in the interest of time, the magistrate decided that the matter can come back tomorrow for the finalization of the matter. If whether or not there are other witnesses that are going to be brought to court, that is something that we'll discover tomorrow.
And I mean, this is a man who was recently, acquitted by the Gqeberha High Court with 2 other co-accused for serious crimes, over 30 charges, I think, at the time, including rape and human trafficking. Speak to us about what the various voices were basically saying outside, when we saw those tensions between the pro-Omotoso, congregants, as well as those political parties represented by some of the victims, in fact?
Well, we tried to speak to some of the people that were outside here, that included pastors, political parties, the ANC Youth League, for an example, the EFF Central Command team, as well as students who stay around the area where Timothy Omotoso's church was assembling yesterday and even today. And they were saying that their concerns are more about, the safety of young people and young girls in the country, because they are not saying that Timothy Omotoso should not be here in the Eastern Cape only, but they're saying that he should be deported, should not be in the country, as he is, number one, tainting the dignity of the Christianity as a religion, but also making the people or the children or the ladies, women in this country, unsafe, and they are alleging that because he was acquitted of those charges, it does not mean that he has not done anything wrong, and it does not mean that there is no case for him to answer. And they were also saying that they were welcoming, the decision by the Justice Minister to say that he wants the matter in which Timothy Omotoso was acquitted looked at and reviewed, and see if whether or not the Justice System, the Justice Department, can do anything about getting him to account for those 32 charges of rape that he was acquitted for.